Our next speaker is a former tank commander in the Pakistani Army, and he will be talking about the resolution of the Kashmir dispute. Please welcome Colonel Nazar.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. You've heard a few speakers and you'll probably hear a couple of more after me. They all will talk of different aspects of the Kashmir dispute. I don't have a prepared speech, but I'm going to talk to you on an aspect of the dispute which very few of us think about. Generally, we talk of all that is happening in Kashmir and all the brutalities going on and perpetrated by India and the ceasefire violations and killings and refugees and all the rest of it. But I just want you to start thinking of a resolution. Every problem, every dispute on this planet, I am convinced, can be resolved by good thinking human beings. And this particular dispute, so far for the last 70 odd years, has not been resolved. Why? Because there was no determination to resolve it. There was no resolve to resolve the problem. Now, the situation, when we talk of a resolution of this problem, I think it is vital that we take into account the exact facts as they stand today. We want to discuss reality. We want to study the real situation as it holds on the ground. Now, what is reality as far as Kashmir is concerned? All Pakistanis at least know that Kashmir now has become literally a life and death problem for both India and Kashmir. At both the countries, they're so involved with this issue of Kashmir, they're so economically tied up with Kashmir that it is not possible for either one of them to give up Kashmir. You will never find India giving up Kashmir. You will never find Pakistan giving up Kashmir. So then where do we stand? How do we resolve the issue? See, this is one fact that we must understand. Economically, both the countries are very deeply, in a colossal manner, they're tied to Kashmir. Both the countries have their water sources coming out of Kashmir. India cannot live without water from Kashmir, and we cannot live in Pakistan, live without water from Kashmir. In fact, there is a school of thought which says that the next war, if there is any war in future between India and Pakistan, it will be for water. The water is so important. Now, obviously, we all know that we also have a 1960 treaty with India, the Indus Water Treaty, and that treaty gives 3 rivers of Punjab to India, and we get 3 rivers. We in Pakistan have the Indus, the Chenab, and the Jhelum. Now, these 3 rivers are ours. India is not supposed to use any water from these 3 rivers, and India gets Beas, Sutlej, and Ravi. Now, that treaty again is being violated because you find, we know, all of us know, particularly those of us coming from Pakistan, they know that Sutlej water is being diverted into Indian territory. So there are violations going on, and we have to see how this water dispute is growing and how it will be resolved eventually. So what I was saying is, what I want to impress is that presently the most important thing that we want to bear in mind is India cannot give up Kashmir and we cannot give up Kashmir. Now, can we decide anything militarily? Can we use military force to advance our political objectives? I think gone are the days when military might was used to advance your political objectives. Today you can't do that. Why? Because technologically, both the countries and everywhere else also in the world, we are so advanced now as the human race that we have the ability to annihilate the whole planet. Both India and Pakistan are now atomic powers. And this one particular spot, Kashmir, has the ability to become a flashpoint for the atomic war. So therefore, will the military ever be used by India or Pakistan to annex the portion of the Kashmir that each country wants? In my view, there is going to be no war in future, no major war. Small skirmishes along the border, along the LOC, for sure, they will always happen. I have personally fought 2 wars, ladies and gentlemen. 1965 war, defended Shavinda, and 71 war, captured Cham. And then for 3 years I was along that border, fought a couple of actions after the 71 war along the LOC in the Bhimber sector. Now, small battles in restricted areas, sure, each country has the ability to defeat the other. We, for example, where I was the brigade major of a brigade in Bhimber, we, as I would use the word, we knocked the hell out of the enemy. But that was all limited. When you think of the overall picture, the bigger picture, the strategic picture, Pakistan does not have the ability and India does not have the ability to go and annex the part of Kashmir that we want and then hold it. We can't do it in the occupied Kashmir, and India cannot take the Azad Kashmir from us by force and then hold it. They don't have that capacity and capability because militarily both the countries are so strong. So therefore, military solution also becomes absolutely irrelevant. So then what is left for resolving the issue? How do we resolve the issue? I think the only way to resolve the issue to sit down with the enemy, with India, in other words, India and Pakistan should sit across the table and resolve their dispute. The world is not going to help you. I can assure the audience, and I can assure anybody, the world is not interested in resolving this issue. They have told us categorically, this is a bilateral issue, you do it. Okay, so if it is a bilateral issue, and it is indeed a bilateral issue, the world body does exist, but the world body is controlled by one power. The world body, United Nations, will never do justice. They have no capacity to do justice. They do what America will want them to do. United Nations didn't want them to go into Iraq, but America did go into Iraq. Why? Because they had the superpower, mighty strength. So they decided what to do and what not to do. So therefore, The world is not interested in finding a solution. It is us, the people of the region, the people of India and Pakistan, who have to find a resolution. And resolution will never come unless we learn to sit across the table and look into each other's eyes and discuss the issue. India will never want to quit entire Kashmir. And Pakistan will never want to give up the claim on the occupied Kashmir. So the resolution will have to be give and take. That is how negotiations are done. Any negotiation amongst humans anywhere on the planet implies give and take. So give and take will have to be done in order for us to find a resolution, and that resolution should mean peace. That resolution should mean prosperity. That resolution should mean progress for both the countries. Both the countries are glaring part of third world. The Western world, the advanced world, is not interested in you. Why should they be? Look at England. What do? They live on your money. They live on third world money laundered from there and brought into England. They're still enjoying it. They've lost the empire, the British Empire no more, but Britain still lives on third world money. Yes. What a shame. Yes. Their consciences have pricked them. That is why Nawaz Sharif is there, that is why Altaf Hussain is there, that is why Zardari is there. And that is why India, by the way, Indian politicians have far greater amount of money stashed in England. The British law allows that. The British law allows money launderers to come and live there as their guests. So they're not interested in finding a solution. We will have to find a solution. Okay. Now, having decided that, who in Pakistan and who in India is going to sit together and decide? The leadership. Now the question is, what leader? Should it be Nawaz Sharif? Should it be Zardari? The mafias? No. You've got to be able to elect a man of integrity, a man who's honest and interested in the well-being of the country and the people on the whole. Somebody who loves mankind. Somebody who loves the prosperity of mankind, the well-being of mankind. So that is the leader that we must elect. That is the leader who one day will be able to convince the other side also. We pray Modi goes and somebody sensible comes in. So the leadership, sensible leadership, honest leadership, leadership of integrity, will have to sit down and decide the future of the two nations.
Thank you.
And I'll leave you at that, gentlemen. I'm being told the time is up. Thank you so much.